Hello. Hopefully, we are connected. Hello, everyone. I think I'm live. It's Katie. There I am. How is everyone? Okay, it's a day. It's a very big day. There's a lot that we have to go over today, but first off, I just want to say hi. Hi, guys. Hello. How is everyone? Is everyone having a good day? How is everyone feeling? I'm sorry that I was a little bit late here. This morning was it was a lot, okay? Um a lot. And it's been a lot for a lot of people. And hold on a second. I just got messages from people. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. All morning, this has been my morning. People have been texting me, people from all sides of around the Duggars, near the Duggars, of the Duggars, all sending me messages. So I have been trying my best to take notes and get a feel for a pulse on what's going on. And then I also, you guys, I had a moment this morning when the verdict was finally revealed where I literally just fell to the ground and started crying. And I've never had a case like this that I've covered this way that I have been so attached to. So I had to actually take some time this morning for myself to reflect on everything that has happened and just be so grateful for the kids in this case and really for just all of them that have been affected. So, you know, there has been a someone said no captioning. I don't know if I have live stream captioning that I can see of. I apologize. There can be captioning in replay. Okay. So earlier today, so last night, first of all, there was a lot of concern. Like people were worried that because it wasn't fast, that there was going to be some problems, right? They were concerned that maybe there was someone that was hung up on this or that just didn't know what they were doing. There was concern that he would be acquitted. And I was trying my best to just sort of like keep people calm and just remind them that they had gone through so much. The jury themselves had heard some of the most horrible things, and they had to look at horrible images. And they probably needed some sleep. So they came back at 4:57 and said that they just wanted to go home. And my thought was that, well, they could have stayed until 10. So it was my belief that they thought that they wouldn't be able to get this done within 5 hours. But when they got there this morning, it was within an hour of them getting there that he's guilty. So I just want to show you the actual guilty from the court records. So here's the actual verdict. This is count 1, which is the receipt. He's guilty. They signed that on the 9th. Okay. So that one was unanimous. And then on count 2, which was stayed, count 2 was actually stayed by the judge because under the law, it's a lower, the way that Dustin Roberts explained it, count 2 is a lesser charge to count 1 because you've really already, count 1 is the big one and then count 2 is the lesser one. And so they go based off of the count 1. And so the count 1 is what he will be sentenced based upon. Okay. I don't think there was a holdout last night. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think there was. I think they were tired. That's my opinion. Nobody had the ability to actually talk to the jury. And I think it would be really premature to say after 4 hours there was a holdout. They had barely even gotten going. I honestly, truly believe they were tired. And if you followed this case, you know that the judge was very, very good about actually allowing them to leave on time every day. And I think some of them just wanted to go home. I think they needed some time to be at home. So once he was, this is Josh's new mugshot. He is now in custody in Washington County Detention Center. This was just uploaded to the Washington County Detention Center's website moments ago. So part of the reason I was a little bit late this morning was that I was looking for this. I was waiting for this. Whoops, hold on. Let me get that pulled up again. I was waiting for that to get uploaded, and let me get it back up for you. There he is. So he's in the Washington County Detention Center being held for the U.S. Marshals. Okay. A holdout would have been like they were, I don't know, deliberating for 4 days. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a holdout after 4 hours. That's just really not how it works. Because if there would have been a holdout, I wouldn't have expected the verdict to come in this fast this morning. Like I said, they could have stayed last night until 10 o'clock. And they didn't. They wanted to go home. And I think they just had a lot. I mean, they had a lot. So that is his new mugshot. And he is being held in Washington County. So he has lost quite a bit of hair, yes, since this was all taken place. Sorry about that. So just to give you some understanding here of this morning, after the verdict, they left the courtroom. Apparently, Anna was actually really stoic and didn't really have much of a response. Josh, they are reporting, had tears in his eyes when this was all when the verdict was being read. And then he apparently turned around and told Anna that he loved her, and that he, said something to her. They exchanged something, and the whole time she apparently had little to no reaction. So once she was out of the court, they caught her walking with Jim Bob. And let me just show you here. Let me find it here. Where are you? Where did you go? I had you up. Here we go. What's going on here? Oh my goodness. Okay. So today, as they're walking, this was Anna. So now she's not able to hold his hand anymore. So she's walking. She was escorted by Jim Bob Duggar and David Waller. There's this right here is David Waller. You see Hillary Spivey back here. And here you see Jim Bob, you see Justin, you see Claire. And then there's David Waller and Hillary. Hillary is Justin Duggar's mother-in-law. Again, there they are. There's Anna getting into the car. So they are on their way home. And this is where I have to talk with you about a few things. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, I just saw some of the photos. I mean, I just literally showed you his mugshot. Let me see if they have actual photos of, yeah, the car stuff. You can't really see him. I actually have the mugshot. I mean, you guys just saw the mugshot. Here's him getting into the car. I'll show you that. These are from the Sun, so obviously you can find them there. But I will. So that's Josh getting into the car. You can see his bald head. Whoops. There's them driving him to the jail. There's him getting in the car. And then again, here's his mugshot. So he is currently in Washington County Detention Center. And he is smiling. And he will be detained until his sentencing. And so the sentencing, the judge said, will be probably in about 4 months. The judge at sentencing or at the conviction stated that he had no choice, that even though Josh had been completely compliant based upon with his bond, he had to revoke the bond. He said he had absolutely no choice. He said it was mandatory for his charges and that he was going to be held in until sentencing. So he expected it to take 4 months. Yeah. So sentencing is typically based on precedents that I looked at. It's like 75 days after a guilty verdict. So they have like, and that's, you have to think of that as like 75 business days. And the reason is that they have 30 days to file post verdict motions. So obviously Josh's, his lawyers say they're going to appeal, you know, of course they are. That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. They didn't have a case. And they say they're going to appeal, which we don't care, right? Let them appeal. They always appeal. But what I thought was interesting is that, let me just see if I can pull up. There was a press conference after the conviction, and the prosecutors, the state attorneys, let me see if I can play this for you guys. And this is just a tiny clip of what they said.
First of all, I said at the beginning that this case was a milestone for our efforts to combat child pornography and child abuse in our district. It's a milestone for a lot of reasons, but a couple of the most important ones that come to mind is that it first and foremost shows that no person is above the law, regardless of their status in society, regardless of their wealth, regardless of their fame. This case shows that no person is above the law. This case also shows us something else. It shows us that this work is very hard. This was almost a 2-week jury trial, and the people that I thanked spent.
So he said that nobody is above the law. And that's what I kind of thought was like absolutely necessary to be heard and to be said. They also said that 70% of the cases in the state of Arkansas, in the Western District, in the past year alone, have involved CSAM. The amount of people I've spoken to that are in this area that have told me about the rampant problem with what Josh is doing, it's not just Josh that's involved in this area. It's a lot of people, and it's because of these fundamentalists and these cult-like beliefs, like all these fundies that live there, and there's such a huge problem there, and all of them cover for each other, all of them. 70% of their cases that the prosecutors of the government attorneys, 70% of their cases involved these types of crimes in this district. It's an epidemic in Arkansas. It's a huge problem in Arkansas. And I was talking to someone earlier and they said it's really just the good old boys here where men protect men. It's like someone likened it to this as, was it 7%? Okay, 7%. I'm sorry, 7%. I thought they said 70. Maybe it's 7. Okay, I'm sorry, 7%. Okay. Anyways, it was 7. Okay, sorry, 7%. Anyways, it's a huge problem in this area. 7% is still a lot, considering the kinds of crimes that they prosecute. So let's talk about how it's a huge problem in this area because of the nature of the Good Boys Club. Yeah, I heard 70% too. Let me find the actual video.
States versus Josh Duggar. This case represents a significant milestone for the Western District of Arkansas and our continued efforts to combat child abuse. Those who would say that children who are photographed and videoed in a manner similar to the evidence in this case are not abused and are not victims are clearly wrong. Children who are photographed and videoed in manners such as this are the victims. And every time their videos and photos are traded online, uploaded and downloaded from the internet, they are victimized all over again. Every single time that happens. This case it represents a milestone for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that it demonstrates that this work is very important. And our office and one of them is that it uploaded and downloaded from, and every time the video, children who are photographed are the victims. And every time
I'm waiting.
Their videos and photos they are victimized all over again. Every single time that happens. This case it represents a milestone for a lot of reasons. But one of them is that it demonstrates that this work is very important.
Coming right here.
And our office has expended the resources necessary to combat child abuse in Western Arkansas. You can see how significant cases like this are to our office. In 2020, over 7% of the cases that were sentenced here in Western Arkansas were either child abuse cases.
Okay, he said 7%. Okay, it was 7%. Sorry, I thought I heard 70 the first time, so I apologize. 7%. All right, we all heard it? 7%. Okay. So, let's we'll get to the Jill stuff. We'll get to the Jill stuff in a minute. Okay. Yep, 7. I heard 7%. All right, everyone, we all heard 7, which is 1 in 12 cases. 7% is still a lot of their cases. Okay. Over 7%. 7, but it was kind of mumbled. Okay, let's move on. We're moving on. A lot of cases in this area. It's an epidemic in this problem. It's a huge problem in this area. That's all I was trying to make a point of. Huge problem. Okay, so moving on. Jim Bob is put on notice because no matter your wealth, no matter your fame, no matter your prestige, no matter your influence, you will be prosecuted. No one is above the law. Okay, no one is above the law. Let's move on. Whether it's 7 or 12 or 13, it's still a significant number. Okay, so that's a lot. Okay, I am going to have to turn my comments. I'm going to not look at my comments right now. Okay, so it's still a lot. I'm not going to be reading my comments right now because I really need to focus here. So once this all was done, Josh Duggar's attorneys basically we are going to appeal. Well, after this happened, I started getting messages from people. Okay, so I had an opportunity to speak to some people connected to the Duggars who were relieved, very relieved for this conviction. People were very nervous that he was going to get off again because of his history of being able to get out of things because of Jim Bob. People last night were worried about jury tampering. And I was like, you guys, this is like, let's all like calm down. Let's calm down. Let's try to get together and just sort of breathe. You know what I mean? So anyways, I looked up that it would have been like 20 years in prison if you tamper with the jury. So Jim Bob is dumb, but I don't think he's that dumb. And that's just my opinion. So one of the things that has been kind of this big issue outside of this conviction is, first of all, Josh Duggar is now in jail, in custody, okay? He now has a conviction. One of the convictions is stayed because they said that you don't, under the law, you can only be charged with, you can only be sentenced on one or something. Anyways, so he is facing 20 years as a mandatory minimum, I believe. And then the judge in this case has the option to add an additional 5 years to the sentence, which is how it was explained at his bond hearing. So because they add time for specific cases based upon the ages of the children. And Josh had videos on his computer that had babies, infants, 3 months old, 4 months old, 18 months old. And so because of the children's age, they can add an additional 5 years. So he could actually be sentenced to 25 years, which in the I don't know, what do you call it? In the federal prison system is considered a life sentence. Okay. Now, this does not include anything additional that comes out of this. Okay. So one of the things that came out yesterday when I had Rebecca Rouse on my chat, who is a attorney, she was talking about how after a guilty verdict, there is generally a court-ordered exam that has to be done on the kids because of the nature of what he's been convicted of. And there was a big problem here because Anna Duggar had refused this ahead of time. So before his conviction, while everything was going on, they had the right to deny or decline an exam by the court of the kids. The reason why children in these cases are typically interviewed is because people like Josh will use their children for the content that they make, because the kind of people like Josh, they have to contribute. And so they have to add content and they have to share content. They have to make their own content. They didn't find content like this, but as they stated in the trial, people like Josh are very good at wiping their computers, completely deleting all the evidence, very good at covering their tracks. So now the judge can order an evaluation of the kids. So Anna and Josh previously declined these. It was supposed to be a cognitive and a forensic interview of the children. Because Anna declined now, according to Rebecca, she will not be allowed to be in the room when the children are interviewed. And Anna will now also be considered a suspect because she did not cooperate. I actually saw someone on my Facebook actually made a comment yesterday and said that this exact same thing happened to her like last year. And my follower stated that her husband did something to her, got caught for the same things. And the county believed that she was helping her husband, and she cooperated and she let the kids be examined, and they still believed that she had something to do with it. So it's super common in these types of cases that they look at the mothers too, because mothers also participate in it, or else they enable it and they look the other way, or they allow their kids to actually have this stuff done too. So I just want to and I'm sorry if I'm looking at my phone. It's just that I have I took some notes for you guys last night, and I wanted to make sure that I give you the information because under the law, there's actually a specific law that she could be charged with if they do an exam and it comes to find out that something happened to the kids. First, she can't be in the room. Second, if they start blabbing and say, yes, this happened to me, And they don't have to have physical evidence because at this point, let's be honest, he hasn't been allowed to be in the room with the kids. But if the kids say it happened based on the charges, they're inclined to believe the kids, right? So I was looking at the actual charges that Anna could face, and there's actually a law in the state of Arkansas. Let me explain it to you. So there's a law in the state of Arkansas that requires a parent to not place their child in harm. And if they do place their child in harm, they can be charged with neglect. So there's a child neglect felony charge that you as a mother would, if you knowingly have concern that your children are in harm and you do nothing to stop it, like if you have reason to believe that your husband might be doing these things and you do nothing to stop it or don't prevent the Joshes from doing this, you can also be charged with child neglect. Another thing that she could be charged with as a part of this case is abandonment of the children because she basically moved in with Josh while the trial was going on. So when she was supposed to be at home with the kids, she left them with the Duggars and she stayed nearly every single night with Josh. So Rebecca was basically explaining yesterday that they could also look at child abandonment for this period for her. And then if they find out that she was involved in any of it, that would be a whole nother charge. But Rebecca stated pretty specifically that Anna could very well lose custody of the kids at this point. So, because she didn't cooperate. So now I want to move on to Josh is going to be put away and he's going to be going away for probably 20 plus years. I'm expecting him to be the judge. I just spoke to a source who told me that the judge is not going to give him a light sentence, unquote. That's what I was told by a source. Okay. Nope, the Duggars probably would not get Anna. That was another thing Rebecca talked about. So unfortunately, because the Duggars didn't protect their own daughters, CPS would be unlikely to place the kids with the Duggars. They would be not considered fit. They would not be considered a good placement for the kids. If they remove the kids from Anna, say something's found out, they are more likely going to be split up because it's 7 kids. And the kids could very well end up with one of the sisters. So we just have to wait and see, but it is standard in these cases that the judge will order an exam of the kids based now that he has the conviction. So next, I want to talk with you about what is actually going on with the Duggars, because this is kind of what you guys come here for. Just need to close some things. My computer is actually heating up here and I need to. Okay. So yeah, one of the reasons I was late today was because I got a phone call from one of my sources and she, God, who did I talk to today? Okay. I got a call from my source and they basically said to me that things in the Duggar house are like utter chaos right now, complete and utter chaos. And there has been, for those of you that are feeling sorry for Anna, like, I don't know if you should. I mean, you can feel any type of way you want about her, but I spoke to someone who flat out told me that there has been multiple confrontations with Anna with some of the siblings and multiple people telling Anna to stop protecting Josh, telling Anna to protect her kids, asking her to protect her kids, asking her to leave Josh, to stop this, stop defending him, stop the nonsense. I was literally told today that every single person, and this is what the source said, every single person in the Duggar family believes Josh is guilty. I was told that Jim Bob knows and believes that Josh is guilty, but publicly he will say he's not guilty because he cares about the family name and he doesn't want his son to be in prison. I was told that Anna has had multiple spats with people in the family who have been demanding that she stop protecting him and protect her kids and do more for her children and to wake up. And she just will not wake up. So if you think, at least the way it's being played out to me and told to me, is if you think this has anything to do with the cult, I don't buy it. I do not buy it for a minute that this has to do with the cult. Is there a cult that they are involved in? Yes. But Anna is not a dingbat. She is a smart woman. And I have been told by so many people around Anna that she is no like wallflower. Like, while she does definitely do what Josh wants, she has the right to say no if she feels like it. And she had the ability to leave him and she won't. So then that makes them feel like, what is she hiding for him? Right? So if she's getting into it with multiple people in the family, they want her to wake up. They want her to leave him. They want her to put her kids first, and she's defending him constantly. I don't think it has anything to do because she doesn't feel like she can't divorce him. I don't think it's that at all, if I'm being completely honest. I think, based on what happened the last time, that there has been promises to Anna that she will be taken care of financially. But I also think that Anna doesn't feel like she can leave because she has information. This is my opinion. Based on what I had in my conversation with Rebecca yesterday, was that Rebecca was stating that because she declined that CPS interview with the kids, Josh could, if she would have allowed it, pointed the finger at her. And if she leaves him, could have pointed the finger at her. And when you're married, you can't be forced to testify against each other. And when you're married and you're holding secrets for one another, you cannot be forced to tell on your spouse. So I think that Anna knows what's going on. I think Anna knows a lot more than what's been happening. And I think there's a lot more to this story. They can decline it because it was an optional interview. It wasn't court ordered. So they were able to decline it because at the time it was not court ordered. It will be court ordered now. So Anna's getting into fights with people. This also has created a massive rift with Austin and Joy. So Austin and Joy also are at a point where they are furious, and they actually didn't go to Thanksgiving because of some arguments and disputes that they had with Anna and with the family before Thanksgiving. So apparently there was a big blowout, and they don't want anyone protecting Josh anymore. And they did not have any good feelings after that. So they went down to Texas to spend Thanksgiving with his family, and just kind of expect more of more separation there. So Joy and Austin, they are furious. Then after last week's testimony, Jim Bob got up on the stand and said that he didn't remember what happened. And he stated that he couldn't recall what Josh had done to the girls. And it was 17 or 18 or 19 years ago. Well, apparently after this testimony happened and it started to get out and the family heard about it, everyone was mad at Jim Bob. Literally everyone. I was told everybody was mad at Jim Bob. I was told that all the boys are furious. And I was told that one of the boys flat out called him out on the floor and yelled at him for lying on the witness stand and denying that he remembered what happened to the girls. And that brother apparently said, you know it happened, you know what happened, and you lied. They have been saying, Jim Bob has been telling these boys for years that they are not supposed to lie. And then he is lying to everyone else. So they are all furious with their dad. Who was it? You want to know? You will not believe it when I tell you who it is. Literally, you will not believe it. It's not John David. It was Jason. My source said it was Jason that confronted Jim Bob. Furious. And it would make sense that it's one of the younger boys because Joyanna is very close to Justin, James, and Jason. It was Jason, according to my source. So Jason was furious because apparently he was mad at his dad because he wasn't protecting his sisters and he was protecting Josh. And then he lied on the witness stand about it. This has been also reverberated in other boys feeling the same exact way. And I was literally told that none of the boys, literally none of them, support what happened with what Jim Bob did on the stand. They don't support Josh. They want Anna to leave Josh. They want people to stop protecting Josh. So really what is happening is that all the enablers of Josh are getting destroyed by the family. So if you are supporting Josh and you are enabling him, they are also the enemy. So Anna has become sort of this target because she won't stop protecting him. Jim Bob won't stop protecting him. And there you go. And it's only going to get worse, I was told, with this conviction. So Jason, who actually was at the trial and also seen talking to Josh, wasn't there for Josh, I was told, because he believed that Josh was guilty. Okay, and that was from my source. What am I hearing about Michelle? I am hearing that Michelle had to split up some fights between people and Anna. And I was told that Michelle had to get in the middle of things and literally raised her voice and told people to, according to my source, she told people to shut up. So Michelle has been whatever. During the same family meeting, this is where it gets weird, you guys. This is where it gets weird. During the same family meeting, according to my source, sorry, my curls are like falling weird. Jim Bob then decides that Jill Duggar is to blame for all of this. Jill Duggar is to blame for all of this. Jim Bob Duggar allegedly tells his kids that all of this is Jill's fault. And he says it's Jill's fault, allegedly, because she lied. She lied. He says she lied. Yeah. Why did she lie? Why? Why did she lie? Does anyone know why she lied? And I'm not laughing because this is funny. This just shows you the level of depravity that Jim Bob Duggar has, in my opinion, based on what I'm told by the sources. but I just want to say that I'm inclined to believe my source because literally every single thing that my source has told me thus far that has happened has happened. So I'm inclined to believe the source. He is telling people that Jill Duggar lied about what Josh did to her. And he said that she never woke up and she never punched Josh in the face and that it never happened. And that Jill is lying about what happened to her. And it's Jill's fault that she's lying. And that's why they're in this position, apparently. And that Jill is the real danger to the family, not Josh. I'm not kidding. Like, this is what the source said happened. So, yeah. Yeah. So when he's telling everyone that Jill lies, that's when Jason confronts him and says, "You're lying. You're lying. You know it happened. You know it wasn't just over the clothes. You know it was going on. You knew it was happening for a long time. You're lying." And then this gets all the other boys furious. But there's one boy who I was told is still regurgitating what Jim Bob is selling. Can you tell me who you believe would be the one boy that's regurgitating what Jim Bob is selling according to the source? Who do you believe of all of the boys it would be likely to regurgitate what Jim Bob is saying? I see a lot of Jeds. A lot of Justins, Jedediah. Okay. Jed. So apparently, Jed told someone that the charges against Josh are political. And they're political because they're bringing up what Josh did in his past. How can what they've done to Josh, how can it not be political, according to my source? Because they've brought this up in the past. And this is what Jim Bob has been telling people, that it's political. He truly believes that the liberal left is out to get him. Yes, JB's backup protege. This actually makes me feel like a little good here. Oh my gosh, the chat is moving so fast. Okay, Jill did not testify. No. Out of all of the boys, Jed is the only one that believes Jill is lying and Josh is innocent. Apparently, he's just telling people it was political. And Jason is the one that stood up to his father. Jed is a lot like Josh. So I have spoken to multiple sources that said Jed has a lot of the same characteristics in personality as Josh and Jim Bob. So kind of that whole like arrogance and cockiness and that whole like I'm better than everyone kind of feeling. Okay. Jill needs a restraining order. I actually believe you on that. Okay. So I don't believe that Duggars, I just saw someone. Oh, there's a booking video. Let's see. Someone said there's a booking video, but I don't. Let me see. So basically the family is imploding. Imploding. I don't see the booking video. Okay. So anyways, let's see. I already showed the booking photo. I don't see it, but he's just sitting on a bench. Okay. Yeah, I already showed the photograph. I mean, you guys already saw that he's smiling. I sent a message to Anna or Amy and I said, finally justice. And she just responded, finally. And then she also put out a tweet. Let me see here. She put out a tweet that said, may the daughters who are abused feel validated. You are truly beautiful and worthy of love. May there be intense counseling and healing. May there be wisdom for all of those who are involved on how to move forward. Thank you, Jesus. Justice has been served. So that's what Amy said. And then she said, may the jurors and Judge Brooks seek healing and counseling from what was exposed to them. May the children grow up with the real godly men as fathers, figures who will guide and protect them. May the people who were once in disbelief have their eyes opened for the first time. Garrett Ferguson has the video. Okay, hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on. Pretty boring, but whoops. Let me see if I can. It's on his Twitter. Okay, so there he is, walking in, hands behind his back. There he is, sitting on the park bench. Sitting on the bench, taking off his shoes, getting his prison socks. All right. Amy, yes, Amy is the cousin. No, this is not last April. This is literally from today. It says being booked into Washington County Jail. So you'll see it first on KNWA Fox. You'll see Duggar going through the booking process where he will be held until sentencing. So this is literally not from April. You can tell because his hair is different. But you can see it says being booked onto the Washington jail. You see Duggar going through the booking process where he will be held until sentencing. And his hair is longer than it was the last time. And he has a different shirt on. He was wearing a pink shirt with his last booking. He's in handcuffs, yes. Okay, so, whoops. All right. We have got, wonderful. Yeah, his shoes are different. Okay. So there was also some stuff about Bobby Holt. So I wanted to go over that because you guys were all in my comments about her on Instagram or on Facebook. So, oh, and then Deanna Duggar just said, justice was served, praying for all involved in the case. Okay. So just Deanna, his aunt, Duggar. And yesterday, Jim Bob said that he just wanted the truth to come out. So this is the truth, Jim Bob. You can't hide from the truth. So let me just go to Bobby's Facebook. Thank you for your time on this case. This has been very emotionally draining for you and the jury and for the Duggar girls, and I'm so thankful for you being away for a long time. Me too. Said he can't remember the truth. I know. He said he can't remember it. So there's people like on Bobby Holt's Facebook right now that are actually like arguing with her and fighting with her, but she actually said, let me see if I can pull this up. So this is what she said yesterday on her, this was from yesterday under one of her posts on her Facebook. It says, you have no idea how many times it's been taken to authorities. When I say they didn't do their job, I truly mean they didn't do their job. Did you know that there was going to be a trial for this abuse in 2007? And did you know that my husband and our daughter was subpoenaed for the trial? Did you know the prosecution dropped it because my family was going to testify? Please stop spreading misinformation when you clearly do not know the truth. You are right. Remember the trooper he was taken to? This was 2004. He did nothing because Jim Bob lied to him and set it up. We didn't find this out until the end of 2006 when he was taken to authorities again, the third time. Then that's when there was supposed to be a trial, but the prosecuting attorney dropped it because our family was subpoenaed to testify. So apparently Jim Bob might have been, it sounds like Jim Bob might have somehow maybe influenced. I feel like the implication here, and this is just my take, is that Jim Bob got into someone's ear when he found out that maybe Bobby and or that Jim and Kaylee would be testifying and tried to get the case dropped. 2007, no, it wasn't Mike Huckabee. He wasn't involved in the case. It had to do with the deputy prosecuting attorney at the time, whose name was John Threet. He's now a judge, but then he was the deputy prosecuting attorney of Washington County. He was the one that made the decision to drop the charges. I don't know if there is any sort of connection between John Threet and Jim Bob or what. That I don't know. When John Threet was asked about this in 2015, he said he did not remember he didn't remember the case. I think Jim Bob is lying. Good old boy system. Yes. Now you're saying that the video is not from this time. Garrett Ferguson. Being booked into Washington County Jail, you'll see first on UC going through the booking process where it will be held. That it doesn't say per the original source that this was from 4:30. It literally says being booked into it, you'll see it first on, you see him going through the booking process where he will be held until sentencing. So I don't see anything per the original source that says that this is anything other than what it was that he said it was. Okay. I need to take a short break. I will be right back in a few minutes. I'm going to see if there is anyone in my chat. Oops. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Nikki says she needs comfort food. So Garrett Ferguson still says that it's, that's the video. So I'm going to check Instagram to see if there's any posts by literally anyone. Okay. Okay, so Derek made a statement when they asked him what he thought about the verdict. Derek Dillard said, "I'm just going to go home and tell my wife." So Derek said, "I'm just going to go home and tell my wife." I'm sure Jill is probably maybe crying. Okay. And then obviously a bunch of people helped him in. Okay. Let me see if I can pull up my Instagram. I'm going to show you that. I'll also show you the charging stuff from Washington County, just so you guys can see that I wasn't where it was coming from. So there's an intake report, and I'm just going to pull this up for you guys so you can see it. There's an intake report, and I'll just show you where it all comes from. So this is the Washington County, you see, detention intake report right here. It says Joshua Duggar. Pull him up. There you go. It says that he is being held on a contract hold for the Department of for federal court. He is on no bond, and he is 6 feet tall and 228 pounds. Wow. He's like bigger than I thought. He's not like fat. I'm just saying he's like bigger than I thought he was. I didn't know he was 6 feet tall. And then his booking date was at 12:07, and the arresting agency was Washington County of Sheriff's Office. Yeah, I didn't realize he was taller than that. I'm not trying to body shame him. I wasn't trying to say that he was fat. He's just bigger, like taller than I thought he was. I have no idea. So this is his smiling mugshot. Isn't that weird? Should I schedule a visitation with him? No. So he's on hold. Obviously, he has no bond. He's not going to have bond because he's convicted now, you guys. He definitely does not look upset. Why is he smiling? Because he's a psychopath. Okay, so a lot of questions from you guys about at the very end of the video with the prosecutors this morning, Dustin, it was Dustin Roberts who explained the sentencing. Let me see if I can find it for you. No, not that one. I'll pull it up for you guys so you can hear it. Or maybe not.
For helping us prepare.
Maybe I didn't get the soundbite. Dustin Roberts basically said that per the way that these charges are done, they stay the possession charge. So the big charge here is the receipt. He received it by downloading it and getting it from the internet. So when they do the charges, or when they actually do the sentencing, the one conviction for the possession is stayed. I don't know why they do both the charges then if one of them is stayed, but he then is basically, he is sentenced based on the receipt. And then the mandatory minimum for Josh for the receipt, according to the judge in the magistrate's office, when he was at his bond hearing, she said to him that the mandatory minimum was 20 years. Let me see if I can pull up the transcripts from the bond hearing and I can actually show you. Because the magistrate, I think her name was Christy Cox. Christine something. I'll show you. She explained it at the sentencing that he was, where is it? The bond transcript. Okay. It was in front of the Honorable Christy Comstock. I knew her name was Christy. Okay. So Christy Comstock was the magistrate judge. And when she went through his charges at the very end, when she was granting him bond, she was explaining to him the seriousness of the charges. And it's just going to take me a second because this is like literally 178 pages. The transcripts from the bond hearing are 187 pages. Why can't I get to them? Come on, everyone. Okay, it's at the very end. Okay, so she said, Mr. Duggar. Okay, hold on. Okay, so she was talking about what concerns me about this most is the age of your sisters when this conduct was admitted. And the age of these children and the alleged evidence against you are 11, 10, 9, 5, and 5. That concerns the court quite a lot. She said, I am very mindful, however, that this conduct happened a long time ago and it happened when you yourself were a child. It's concerning to the court that you have publicly admitted that you may have a problem with looking at stuff online. I have heard no evidence that you have any sort of addiction to CP. I've also heard some testimony that your wife might have been your accountability partner. Again, I'm not going to delve deeply into it. That is not dispositive of the decision I'm going to make here today, but it concerns the court. So she was concerned that Anna might have known things, or I guess maybe, I don't know. She says the serious danger to any person or the community that has been possessed. The truth is, I don't know that you have not been convicted of harming anyone. I will tell you that you have your own children, your siblings' children. Where is the thing about the sentence? Are going to reject his blah, blah, blah. That pretrial service report suggests that there's 5 or 6 minor children that live in your parents' house. There are 6 minor children that live in your house. She said basically that one of the charges had 20 years and then it had a stipulation on top of it for 5 additional years. And I was trying to find that in there, but I can't find it. So she stated to him that if convicted, this, because of the age of the children, he could be going 20 plus 5 is how she explained it. I hope that makes sense. And I think Rebecca explained it because of the age of the kids. I'm still looking, I promise. What is going on? Whoa. Okay, what is going on here? She was like so concerned, but then not concerned. I couldn't believe she got him out on bond, to be honest. I was like stunned. I couldn't believe she let him out on bond. But she said that they didn't present anything that he was actually, what do you call it? I know it's not close enough. Okay, so the 20 years is the minimum max. It's a mandatory minimum. The plea agreement was for 10 years, correct. So the charge is 20 years based on the factors, which I've done other videos about this, but I wanted to explain this to you. There's different factors that impact the length of the sentence. If someone has prior history of doing these types of things, which the court has established. So when the court allowed into testimony the things that he had done to his sisters, even though he was not convicted of those crimes, she basically stated that those could be used for sentencing guidelines as prior behaviors. So the way that Josh is being viewed by the court and the reason why it's mandatory that he's remanded is because he is looked as a high risk offender at this point. Yes, this is not, we can't go off of minimums and maximums because it has to do with Josh. And we're not going to go off an average because the average is not Josh. So Josh has a previous with his sisters, and then he has the age range. So the sentences are based upon the ages of the children in the videos. So if the children are under 14, there's like a standard. If they're under 12, there's a standard. If they're under 5, there's a standard. And I think they're under 3. Okay. So he has children in these videos under the age of 3. he is a prior offender. There was other factors here, but when Carly Marshall offered the plea deal to him, she told him he met all of the exceptions. So he hit every single factor. And so because of that and all of those aggravating factors, he reaches the mandatory minimum, and that is 20 years. That is what they said to him at the bond hearing. The mandatory minimum is 20 years. Then she also said, because of the age of the victims, there's also a mandatory, she said, we can also impose an additional 5 years on top of that. Then, I'm just telling you what the court said. She said a mandatory minimum of 20 years. Those were her words from the court out his mouth. When you do a plea agreement, you typically get time off. He does not reach any time. He will not get any time off in terms of like cooperating now. He has shown no remorse to the court. He has now forced the judge to see all of this. He forced the jury to see all of this. He was acting like a fool in court. He was laughing. He was not taking any of this seriously. And because of, no, there's mandatory minimums. So there's very complex sentencing guidelines. I have researched this as an ad nauseum. I have no reason to lie. None. If he gets less than that, that's on the judge. Based on the factors that Josh has on this case and the age of the children in these videos, which was stipulated by the judge in the bond hearing, she stated the minimum was 20 years. So he would have to do, no, mandatory maximum is, no, that's the maximum, but there's also mandatory minimums. So there could be a mandatory minimum for one offender of 5 years and one for 10 years. It has to do with his stipulations. His stipulations. The magistrate judge said, yes, the maximum is 20, but the mandatory minimum for Josh is 20. So he gets the maximum sentence. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Every offender has to hit this. So he, in this case, could likely be sentenced to 20. I hope that makes sense. Because he has all of the aggravating factors, because of the age, because he has passed on his record, then he's going to have to face his mandatory minimum. His mandatory minimum. No, they're not. They stayed one of them. So they're only going to be sentencing him on one. Okay. Only one of the charges. I hope I'm sorry. Every single person has their own specific sentencing guidelines. Yeah, I'm quoting what the judge said at the bond hearing. She said, based upon his charges and the age of the charges and the aggravating factors around Josh's own history, he would be facing 20. Now Anna has 7 to change on a region. Okay. They did a stay on one of the charges because under the law, Dustin Roberts said that they can only actually be convicted on one of them. So the judge said that one of them was stayed. The possession charge was stayed. And the way that Dustin Roberts explained it for sentencing, he will be sentenced under a single charge of receipt. That single charge carries a maximum of 20 years. They can add an additional 5 years to that based on the age of the kids. So he could be facing up to 25 years. I got it right. I'm trying to be as clear as possible. It's hard. I'm sorry. He did comply with the entirety of his bond, so they won't be adding any additional charges from anything that he did out on bond, because the judge today did say that he complied with his bond requirements. And let's see. I'll see if I can actually find the quote here. I still can't believe she gave him unlimited contact to the kids. I will tell you that their own children and siblings and your minor brothers and sisters, that they're all part of the larger society. I'm hoping you're not going to prove my decision wrong. I'm going to find that the United States has not presented clear and convincing evidence to not release you. It's concerning that you're publicly admitted to doing these things. She was concerned about the age of his sisters. Okay, she said, the first, which you've heard already, is the nature of the circumstance of the offense you're charged with, and I'm not going to remind you on how serious these charges are while you're presumed innocent. And I appreciate that you ensure that the constitutional, while you're presumed innocent, and I appreciate that and respect that, and will ensure that the constitutional right is reserved when you're in this court. Count one of the indictment carries a mandatory minimum of 5 years. Count two, depending on the ages of the victims introduced into evidence at trial, could carry a sentence of 20 years if convicted. So did you hear that? I'll show you. It's directly from here. It's right here. Depending on the age of any victims introduced into evidence at this trial, could carry a sentence of 20 years if you're convicted. So these are very serious charges, and the court views these as serious. Okay, I found it. 20 years based on the ages of the victims. There's a lot of hometown support for him. Count two is not stayed. She might have got it wrong when she was explaining it. They are not charged. So they are staying the charge that's the lesser of the two. So he is going to be given the sentence based on the charge that's the greater of the two. That's the way that Dustin Roberts explained it. So the lesser charge of this is stayed. She might have misspoke. The one that he's going to get sentenced on is the one that would have the greatest penalty, which would be, according to the judge, 20 years based on the age of the kids. Okay. I hope I finally cleared that up. I knew I could find it. Okay. Thank you for going over everything clearly and being so patient with us. There are so many different reports coming over the trial. They all discuss the max and min differently. Very confusing. Thank you. Of course. I knew I could find it. I don't know if she just got confused. Let me look at the counts. Let me look at the indictment here. Count 1 is receipt. Count 2 is possession. According to Dustin Roberts, the receipt was the greater of the two, or one of them was the greater of the two. Okay. You guys can, his defense attorney just looks like a slime ball. Did anyone think that the defense attorney in this case just looks like a gross, like, I don't like to shame anyone, but something about Justin Gelfand just really rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't know how anyone can actually defend these kinds of people at all. But let me just show you what they posted here. They did a video from him where he is talking about how they're gonna do an appeal.
And we look forward to continuing this fight on appeal. We have no more comment at this time. We plan to appeal at the appropriate time. Thank you.
He's so gross. He's so gross. I cannot stand Travis, or I can't. Well, that's Travis' story too. There's something, he just makes my skin crawl. You will always support the Duggars. Called enhancements. Thank you, Lisa. I knew it was something. Totally cringe. I don't know if he is in the IBLP. But I'm not worried about the appeal because there's not much. I mean, they'll say a million things for appeal, but they always appeal. They literally always appeal. Everyone appeals. I mean, Josh Duggar appeals everything that he loses. He literally bought a piece of property that he shouldn't have bought, and then he appealed it when it was turned out that he stole it from someone else. If the kids are taken from Anna, do you think they will go with Anna's sisters or a Duggar like Jill or Ginger or even Amy? The way that Rebecca explained it yesterday is she believed it would be an immediate sister because Anna's sisters don't live in Arkansas, and because the Arkansas Department of the Washington County Department of Child whatever Services, if it's the Department of Human, I don't know, I think it's DHS or DCFS in Arkansas, they would be placing them in an Arkansas family. So Ginger's in California, so it wouldn't be with Ginger. Jessa already has 4 kids, so she might not be a good option, and she doesn't have the space in her house. She has a really small house. I don't know. DHS? She thought that it could be the kids could be split if she loses custody. I don't know. A lot of that is just going to be, we won't know until they order a actual evaluation. Yeah, the sisters might not want to take them either. Why would the kids be removed? We actually already discussed this. People saying that the kids go to the Duggar sisters, maybe they'd want, yeah. I don't know if they'd want the kids. I mean, who knows? We don't really know what's going to happen, to be honest, because we don't know. I mean, the judge will likely order the evaluation. Beyond that, we don't know what will happen. If Anna, all I know is that Rebecca yesterday basically stated that if Anna doesn't leave Josh and she doesn't accept that Josh is guilty, that's not going to help the kids. I'm not being rude. I'm answering questions. Sorry. So don't be rude. I'm not being rude. I'm answering questions. I just said we already answered it. You can rewind it. But anyways, the fact that she won't leave him, and if she doesn't believe it and she doesn't accept it, then that can be a factor for her as well. Because then they'll wonder, like, if she's even fit to keep them safe from anyone else. It does make my... Okay. I was not told why he wasn't coming home. I don't know. What I do know is that whatever... I was told 2 nights ago that they were very well aware that Josh Duggar was going to be remanded. It was very clear to them. Apparently, Josh's defense attorneys had prepared him that he, if was convicted, would not be going home. And they were talking to the kids about it. But I don't know what they told the kids. Right now, Jim Bob told people that Jill lies, and so does the government. So, yes. Kate, he was... My eyeshadow looks amazing. Well, thank you. I'm trying to answer questions as they're coming in, because I'm really kind of like at the end of like giving you any of the new information. She says an appeal will overturn a lower court's decision if there was an error of law. That and only that is the reason to overturn a verdict. His lawyer knows this, but hey, it's free money. They were very, very, very particular about making sure that there wouldn't be any issues for appeal with this case. The judge was very, I would say, doing everything to the letter. I mean, even allowing things in that he might not have preferred just because, you know, Josh has a right to a defense. And interestingly, may he get jailhouse justice. I'm sure it is. So just Dustin Roberts in the same press conference said that the defense did the best that they could with what they had. He stated that their remote access theory, they just didn't have all of the information to prove it. So for something to actually meet reasonable doubt, it cannot be just speculation. They have to be able to prove with a theory and have the proof to back up that doubt as to this is what happened. They could not prove it happened. They couldn't prove, there was no evidence it happened. So they only created doubt. They couldn't create reasonable doubt. And the evidence, Dustin Roberts said, just doesn't match the theory. So no matter what they did, there was nothing more that they could do because it just didn't match. I hope you take a couple days vacation if you want after this and give it, you deserve. It's a lot. I'm hoping at some point, if I'm being honest, that at some point I can actually get some of these people that I've been talking to off the record to maybe go on the record. I don't know if people are ready yet. Oh, okay. I do have to say one thing. Okay. So everyone, grab your popcorn. Has everyone got your popcorn? You got your drinks? I've got a little message. People in playback are always like, Katie, you're always playing with your hair. You're so vain. Okay. I have a message. Okay. So I was talking to a source today, and this is what the source said. For over 20 years, Jim Bob Duggar, this is what the source said, okay? So just think of my source telling me this. For over 20 years, Jim Bob Duggar has lied, manipulated, and smeared anyone that tried to help his daughters and tried to get Josh held responsible for what he did. Anytime someone in his life stood up to Jim Bob and stated, this is not right, you should not be doing this, Josh needs to be out of the house, you need to protect your daughters, Jim Bob labeled them dangerous, liars, smeared their reputations, ostracized them from their friends and their families, kicked them out of churches, destroyed at least 3 churches that tried to stand up to him about this, that the time for protecting Josh is up. The source went on to say, if you are someone that is in the new orbit of the Duggars and you are getting your information from the Duggars, make sure that you verify the information that Jim Bob Duggar is telling you. You have the ability and the capability to go and look at court records. Once you look at court records and you look and verify the factual truth, you will be proven that Jim Bob is a liar. It is not you that is dangerous to the family. It is not you that is the liar. It is Jim Bob, according to the source, that is the liar. It is Josh that is the liar, and it is Jim Bob and Josh who are responsible for destroying this family. Wake up is what they said. All right, I'm done. Wake up. You got your teacups? Sounds like a former someone we all know. You don't know this person. Never even mentioned their name. You have no idea who they are. Not a clue. All right. You are woke. Now, perfect rant girl. It is a scary cult. Your source is right. It's not a Bates. The Bates are as complicit as the Duggars. Can we talk about this for a second? All of you people that want to praise the Bates, where have the Bates been for 7 months? Where have they been? Where has been one single statement that they have made for the children that are the victims? Where is one single statement that the Bates have made about the victims? Where is the single statement that the Bates have made about Josh's victims? Gil Bates is the founder, or is on the board of the Institute in Basic Life Principles. At no point in the last 7 months has a single Bates spoken out for the victims and condemned Josh Duggar. Do you know why they won't do that? Because Gil Bates depends on Jim Bob to bring people into the cult. If you go against Jim Bob, you are lied about, ostracized, manipulated. So everybody that's on the board that has a leadership position in the Institute of Basic Life Principles is responsible for condoning, for covering up, for enabling what Josh Duggar has done. There are a zillion Josh Duggars in the IBLP that they protect. If the Bates care about children like they say, speak out. Condemn it. But they won't. These are my opinions. Gil Bates has never said Josh's name. Gil Bates has never spoken out publicly about it. He has maybe implied things, but no. Unless you flat out say, I condemn Josh Duggar and I condemn what he's done, but he's not going to say that because Gil Bates is on the board of the IBLP and there is no one with more influence in the IBLP than Jim Bob Duggar. Jim Bob Duggar has the biggest reach. He has brought in more people into this organization, and he has used his platform for almost 2 decades to bring people into the cult. No one in this cult is going to tell Jim Bob Duggar no because they depend on Jim Bob Duggar financially. He's bringing in new members. If the IBLP cared, they would cast him out, but they didn't. They protected Bill Gothard until they couldn't protect him anymore. They only kicked out Bill Gothard until they were forced to kick out Bill Gothard, until someone sued Bill Gothard and then he finally admitted to it. Oh, I'm sorry. I have something to add from the source. It's not just Jim Bob that slandered people, okay? The source said, don't forget about Michelle. It's Michelle who called people and told people that anyone that spoke out against her family were liars. And that she lied to everyone, and that anyone that spoke the truth about what Josh was doing, Michelle called a liar. Michelle would call people, apparently according to my source, and then smear people that tried to warn them about Josh, tried to warn them about the Duggars, and tried to warn them about what was going on in that house. And it was Michelle, apparently, according to my source, that was also calling people and telling them that these people were the liars. It's 1000% not Amy. I don't even speak to Amy very much. No, see, you guys, Amy doesn't know this information. I'm sorry. Amy was ostracized by the family and never was close to them. Amy and Deanna never had a close relationship with them because they weren't fundamentalists. So Amy doesn't know anything about this, unfortunately. And it's not one of the Duggar kids. Let's stop guessing, you guys. Can you, if you try to figure out these people, they're literally never going to tell me anything. No, I talked to Amy. I actually talked to Amy today. I asked Amy, I said, finally, Justice, and she said, finally. Why am I making a big deal about my sources? because I'm telling you about them. Joyful Jenny is I think she's a Duggar hugger. I think Joyful Jenny needs to be put to the pasture. Okay. Amy was with them. Yeah, she was with them, but she wasn't told anyone. She didn't have anything to do with them. So anyways, no. And Sierra doesn't actually talk with them anymore. From my belief, I don't think Jill did not testify. Katie needs to talk to Jill. Okay. I did speak to someone connected to the Dillards yesterday, and the person said to me that they will be there for Jill, that Jill has a tremendous amount of support. There are a lot of people around Jill that are loving on her, that are giving her everything that she needs, that are reminding her that she is an amazing woman, and that are giving her just like all kinds of love and hugs. That all of the people that are currently around Jill have been waiting for this day for decades, and that all of them will continue to support her. They all wanted justice, and they're so glad that justice has been served. I haven't had a chance to speak to anyone around Joy. If I do, I'll let you know what Joy has to say, or what the Joys are feeling. All I know is that Joy and Austin are furious. I think she'll speak. It'll be on her terms. I agree. She says, children are a blessing from the Lord who deserve to be protected and defended. I agree. I'm not even religious, and I agree they deserve to be protected and defended. The Bates do own a state. They do owe a statement because Gil Bates is the founder of the IBLP. And every IBLP big honcho person was a part of this trial. This was, for many people that are survivors of the IBLP, a trial for them. I talked to so many people that are survivors from this cult that said that this trial was personal for them because it was like watching the person that did something to them finally get justice. So if Gil Bates is on the board of the IBLP, technically you do, because he's making money off the public. He's trying to actively recruit people into this cult. This cult has a propensity and a history of protecting people like Josh. So technically, yes, Gil Bates and Kelly Bates do and should say something, but they won't because it doesn't fit the cult's long-term goals. And those are my beliefs. If you are on the board of the IBLP, it is your responsibility to condemn behavior like this. They will never condemn this behavior. They will never condemn it because it's never the man's fault. It's always the victim's fault. He didn't say their names, though. He didn't say their names. And at no time during this period have they said their names. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter if they didn't find, no one said that they founded them. Gil Bates is on the board. Would it make you feel better if I showed you? Since nobody wants to believe me on things, I'll let you see. I want to show you how influential Gil Bates is in this cult. Okay. I want to just prove to you that I'm not lying, because everyone always thinks I'm lying. Nobody wants to believe me about the Bates. Okay. This is the Institute in Basic Life Principles, Board of Directors. Oh, is that Bill? That's Gil Bates. The Board of Directors. That's Gil Bates. He's one of 3 men that are the top leadership of the cult. Wow. It's almost like I'm not lying. Tim Lewandowski is the current president. And then there's Gil Bates and David York. These 3 men are the ones that make the decisions for the IBLP. Okay. If you look at how much he's done, I mean, there's 10 searches for him of sermons, of books. This is all Gil. Okay. So that's, no, he didn't, well, he didn't found it. Bill Gothard founded it. Bill Gothard founded it. If I misspoke, I'm apologizing. No, actually, the IBLP people that are most of the IBLP people that are here usually agree with me. Well, the other 2 aren't using, like, the reason I bring up the Bates is because the Bates of the IBLP are the second most influential family. That's why I bring up the Bates. Who else from the IBLP has a show on the Up Network that's recruiting for the cult right now? Okay. They're married Duggars married to other members of the cult? Yes. Claire Duggar is from the cult. Katie Nikatsu is from the cult. Austin Forsyth grew up in it. Anna Duggar grew up in it. Kendra Caldwell didn't really, like, the Caldwells weren't super IBLP, but they definitely followed it to a point. So I would say that, like, Kendra's kind of. Lauren Swanson, who's Josiah's wife, is. Abby, John David's wife, is. The ones that are not are Derek, Jeremy, and Ben. So Derek did not grow up in the IBLP, Jeremy did not grow up in the IBLP, and Ben did not grow up in the IBLP. IBLP. It's mostly, there's not a lot of diversity in the cult. No, it's mostly white people. Do you know anything about Anna's parents and all of this? Anna's parents are, like, supportive of Anna. Michael is also part of the cult. So, all right. At the end of the day, the husbands that have the biggest problems, Derek and Jeremy, are the ones that didn't grow up in it. And after what happened with Jeremy and Ginger, Jim Bob was, like, not going to let that happen again. Jim Bob was not going to let what happened with Jeremy and Ginger, when Ginger left the belief system, he was not going to let that happen again. So he's going to always try to find another family in the cult to marry the kids into. There are very few people of color in the IBLP. Having a 2 families or 3 families, it's mostly white people. Bill Gothard was notoriously just liked white people. I don't know if he was racist, but you can just read the wisdom books. That's all I would tell you. Where was the Volos? The Hope We Hold, Derek's book, The Truth Be Told. Yes. Someday. Okay. Now, she says that Bill is a racist. Okay. Say the truth, says Anitra. Josh's red hat says they're racists. I don't know. They were not my church. No, I've just researched them for a long time. The wisdom books are not real curriculum. You are for sure truthful on that. Jeremy is not the IBLP, but you believe he exploits their names. Oh, geez. Okay, let's see if we have anything new to report before I tune out for this live, because we're getting at 2 hours. I wonder what's going to happen with Jim Bob's Senate run. Do you think he's going to drop out, or is he just going to run on that his son has been set up by the government and that's why he's running? Thank you for your hard work. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Does anyone believe that Jim Bob is going to actually drop out of this? Or do you think he's going to stay running because he's that delusional? He won't drop out. I think he will lose. He's turned off comments on his page. He'll continue. He's delusional. He's going to still run. I think he will try to win to try to convince the governor. Oh, yeah, there's a video I did on Josh and Anna's courtship. You might want to watch that one, according to this person. He's the delusional. He said he's the delusional. Oh, Jim Bob. All right. So for today, this is what we have. It's been a very busy week. If there's more information that comes out, I might go live again. I also have people I need to speak with. But if you guys have comments or questions or concerns, you always know where to find me. You can find me on Instagram. Please find me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Without a Crystal Ball. Okay. So it's Katie, or it's Instagram.com/Without a Crystal Ball. I'm updating there. I also go live there sometimes. I share little things that I'm working on there. You can also follow me on Facebook at Facebook.com/Without a Crystal Ball. I'm not ever really on Twitter. I have a Twitter account, but I really don't spend time on Twitter because Twitter is a trash panda kind of place. If you see something, say something. If you hear something and you need to say something. Okay. My final bit is that I wanted to share this. A lot of you guys have been asking about how can you help? What can you do? If you had someone in your life going through this, what could you do? Or what can you do to help? Or what are organizations that you can get involved in? I'm going to say this. No other organization that I feel more passionately about is RAIN. I am a survivor myself of SA, and in 2007, when I went through my SA, RAIN, which is the National SA Hotline, was my resource that I used to get all the help that I needed, from information on what to do, how to go to the hospital, where to get counseling, what resources in my area were there for me. So today, you guys asked, what is an organization that I can be a part of or support? I would say RAIN. They are the leading organization for SA victims. They do not only a 24-hour-a-day hotline for people who need help, they also have information for parents of children that are victimized. They also do policy. So they work in Washington to try to develop better laws. The number one thing you can do is not protect someone who's doing this to someone else. If you see something, say something. If you're a victim, report it. The stats related to SA and CSA are atrocious. And only, according to RAIN, only 5 out of every 1,000 perpetrators go to prison. So it says every 68 seconds in America, someone is SA'd. Every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. Meanwhile, only 5 out of every 1,000 perps will end up in prison. You have the power to do something. So, we have donated consistently to RAIN for years. You can donate to RAIN. You can donate to local police offices. I'm just sharing where I donate. So today I started a fundraiser on my Instagram. 100% of the proceeds go directly to RAIN. You can donate directly to RAIN through Instagram. 100% of the money goes there. Today, without a crystal ball, donated $2,000 to RAIN in honor of all victims who do not and have not received justice. We have a goal of $10,000. You can feel free or not if you want to contribute to RAIN. But they are a wonderful organization, and their 24-hour-a-day hotline will help you if you need help. If you are a victim and you need help and you need someone to talk to, the phone number is 1-800-656-HOPE. (1-800-656-HOPE). (24 hours a day, 7 days a week). We have done equal types of fundraisers for the National Domestic Violence Hotline as well. But because this case specifically is about CSA and SA, we felt compelled to fundraise and donate to RAIN. It's in the United States. It's the national hotline. Okay. That's how we will end it. RAIN is for the United States. I'm sure every country has something similar, but RAINN is the United States. It's the nation's largest SA hotline and resource for victims of SA. All right. We are going to focus on the victims of SA today. And I hope you guys will think about them. Wait, you've made me cry with the fundraising you are doing for this cause as a survivor many years. That type of thing was not around when I went through it. Yeah, they were who I called. I don't want to be associated with Thorn. I'm just not into Ashton Kutcher. I won't support Ashton Kutcher. I'm sorry. Ashton has stood by his friend Danny Masterson, so Thorn might do good things, but I don't think that you can run an organization like Thorn and support your friend named Danny. It's counterproductive and it's hypocritical. So sadly, I will not promote Thorn. Plus, the United States already has a program that does exactly what Thorn does, times a million, and that's the torrential downpour. So no, I'm not going to support anything to do with Ashton Kutcher, because if you are a board member of Thorn and you are supporting a predator, I'm not going to support your organization. It's hypocritical. You can get mad at me for that, but that's, and you guys, there's no competition between me and Kendall Ray. Kendall Ray does amazing things. I'm not going to donate to Thorn. That's my opinion. I don't support Ashton Kutcher because Ashton Kutcher supports Danny Masterson. All right. RAINN saved my life years ago after my assault, and I definitely support their cause. Same with me. The link is on my Instagram. So check out my Instagram. You're allowed for your own opinion. Yes. And it's not a competition, you guys. Like, you can watch Kendall Ray and still be a fan of hers. And there's no competition between me and other creators. Every creator does amazing things. If you want to make it like competition, I have nothing. I have no interest in competition. Okay. I think Thorn is getting some pushback because Ashton, and I've seen it, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that feels this way. All right. I'm going to go. If you would like to if you want to donate to RAINN, that's fine. That's who we've chosen to fundraise for. I can't win no matter what I do. Josh Duggar was convicted, and we are going to take a break. We might be back in a little while. I want to thank you guys all for being here. Have a good day. It's a good day for victims. Please, please, please say something good. Think something good. Take a moment today to remember the victims in this case. Josh Duggar, Jim Bob Duggar are not the victims. The victims were the babies in those cases. And every time that somebody downloads, shares, opens, or views CP, a child is re-victimized. CP is a permanent memorial of a child's essay that is shared over and over and over. The victim is victimized over and over and over. There's no place for this kind of content online. Don't support or harbor people that view this kind of stuff. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's not innocent. Children should be protected. Bye, guys.